this is for individuals. We can't change that post all of a sudden, but the voice must be there for such irresponsible statements and unwise people somehow entering some higher post, and now they claim that they are the patrons of the whole of humanity. That should be opposed somewhere. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, okay. There is some change in my screen. Anyway, so this is about the world and how they viewed. What you might have gathered that I am indirectly talking somehow about natural life. So of course I am talking about that. Some time back I read a book by J.R. Diamond, Guns, Steel, etc. Again, the bestseller of the world. So he has tried to prove that, of course, human beings they are very intelligent and articulate and mischievous also, and they have tried to modify the structure, physical structure of the outer layer of the earth throughout the globe. They have tried it, but nature, despite that, nature has prevailed upon them and it has dictated them to go not beyond a limit. Not beyond a limit. And so he says that why Australia developed the way it has developed, why Asia developed the way it has developed. The same way he's talking about Europe and some South America, means there is some variation of culture, and that variation of culture is guided by geography, and that geography is guided by its planet's cosmic position, where the planet is fixed and how many sunshine is coming or it is not coming, something like that. So all these things, this is all in detail. We won't gap. Simply our lesson here is that nature is supreme. We can, in a friendly manner, try to tame nature to some extent. You can ask, how can we tame nature? But we have been taming nature, and very beneficially also. After the last ice age, we have tamed several wild plants, and that here has resulted in our food items, cereals, wheat, paddy, and lot of other things are there. Earlier, they were not directly consumable. It had to be tamed, trained, and on both sides, both the human tried to use their skill and ingenious to make them palatable, and that species also, they cooperated somehow biologically, and they came closer to the human needs, and we have tamed those plants, mango trees, guava, apple, several things. Still there are thousands of other trees, they are wild, and fruits also, but we can't consume them. They are not palatable. But if effort is made, that can be made palatable. In fact, in this field, one of the rarest experiments in the world has taken place in India, and that was done by Mahatma Gandhi. Hardly we know about that, but he experimented, and he was of the view that agriculture is a type of violence against nature, because we are not allowing the plants to grow as they wanted. They sow them at a particular time, and we cut them according to our needs. This is violence. He was opposed to that. So he said that let us try to experiment with some other plants and their fruits. So he experimented with several wild plants, and finally he found that about 5 or 6 of them could be used, and he recommended them that it should be used, whosoever wants to do that. So this type of experiment has happened. Again, Mahatma Gandhi, he was not in favor of killing insects. He won't kill insects, even a snake. he will catch hold of it and throw it away somewhere in the wilderness. He said that after all, they are part of the nature. This is what it is now called deep ecology. They are part of nature. We don't know the nature's plan behind them, so they must be respected. So what I want to suggest that whatever we are doing in the name of development must be taken from the angle of nature and natural laws, whatever we know at present. So we should go according to that. We should try to make our life, design our life in accordance with the use of nature's helpful elements, including sunshine, means treatment with sunshine. There are treatments, they are there. Even the global deficiency, that is pandemic in a way, the deficiency of vitamin D all over the world. Why it has happened? Because we have introduced a culture in which we have to work under the roof all the time and we are not getting sun properly. And so we are deficient of vitamin D. So these things are happening. So it will include a lot of changes in our urban settlement. And if we don't do, this type of epidemic will come. So I'm again returning to that point where I had left. And I was suggesting that one factor we have found that is war. War increased mobility just creating tension, but also carrying one disease from one to another. Because, for example, smallpox and even plague and other diseases, had become friendly in Europe in early modern times. So there's something disease like what we call Jugaam in India, cough, something like that. But once the soldiers went to American countries, South American countries, the islands, people became inflicted of that. And in fact, some of the islands, people died in weeks, almost 95% of population due to that disease, which was prevailing in Europe for centuries. People these days, they are political slogans also that let us globalize the world. Of course, we can globalize the world in some way, but not biologically. Be careful about that. That every geographical zone has its own living conditions, and they won't allow living in some another way. So every zone has good qualities. They are backward, developed or not developed, but you can't mix them, and especially at a very fast speed. You can't do it. You know that there is in nature, the biological process of evolution is very slow. And the evolution created in terms of material growth engineered by human being, it is very fast. So the two are not incompatible. They are not compatible. They can't fit with each other. And so all types of diseases have to take place. In fact, even COVID virus, if not 19, it's all other previous varieties, they have been living with us for centuries. Even might living in some corner of the world. But since we were not exposed, it has become such a crisis. So the lesson is that first, avoid war. War this time, in fact, we are living not in a war, we are living through war, several wars. Every part of the world is experienced some type of war here and there. So that war creates a crisis, economic crisis, familial crisis, then nutrition, problem of nutrition. It is creating poverty in several areas, and mobility and casualty is always there. And another thing that we have time now to decentralize our population. The concentration on a particular city, it has to be broken, and unless and until we scatter this population from a central point, these type of diseases are sure to take place everywhere. So these are the situations in which these things be carried. So far, I'm not talking much thing very reassuring. So now I will talk something about reassuring things. So first thing, that until some time back, our understanding was, say, about 30 years or 40 years back, our understanding was that there is a disease, there is immunity. We can tackle to some extent the disease, but if the disease prevails, it can kill us. That was true. That is true even now. That fact remains, but some of things were not known earlier. About 40 years back or so, one Chilean philosopher and scientist, his name is very long. It was uh, Varela, short name was Varela, but his full name was Francis Xavier Varela Garcia. He died very young, unfortunately. He had researched, he was a genetic scientist and philosopher, and he found that every gene has capacity to itself. He has found it, and now it is proved. Even if we are afflicted somewhere, you don't worry so much. And the scientists, they say that because we have a perpetual fear in our mind about death, so we are afraid if something, even cough happens, we think our pain is there, we become afraid and we take medicine or analgesic. He says that will work. Every gene will try to repair and regenerate your body's part, and it will repair. So that is a great finding of science. These types of things were even earlier. People knew, but then they knew it only intuitively. For instance, the Indian sages knew about that. Even Gandhi knew about that. I will talk, if time permits, I will talk about that. So that understanding, but modern science, Cartesian, Newtonian, Western science was not ready to consider that type of knowledge received intuitively, because they thought intuition is not a good, reliable source of knowledge. They thought about that. So that is a very useful and helpful and reassuring finding of modern science, that our body in different parts, even at the microscopic genetic level, it can regenerate and it can save our life. One thing, Fritjof Capra has found two things more. He added two things of this. He said that this whole universe is working not only on the basis what you are seeing. What you are seeing in a material term, a table or a telephone or your screen, in the ultimate reality, it is nothing. It is energy. So he brings it somewhere, Maya, Vedantic Maya, and those type of philosophical thinking of that time, because after that it's not visible. One can't see it. So even after that, how does this world working? The question is how this cosmos is working. So he says that beyond that energy, there is another thing. There is a system of autonomy, autonomy at different levels. I am adding some illustration from my side to make things easier. It is not exactly from great scientists. Autonomy at, for instance, to your body. Your digestive system is largely responsible to look after your everything. And finally, your brain and heart. Brain is responsible for making things work, and heart and the brain is guiding everything to happen. This is one form of autonomy. This autonomy is controlled by a larger autonomy that is controlled by the planet. That planet is controlled by the cosmos, the whole cosmos. Who controls that, we don't know. Beyond that, though in our philosophy, there is some clue that how it happens, but they don't accept existence of God. They say that it has happened, it will happen, it was always there, something like that. Don't ask question about it. They say something like that, but I don't know how it happens. Then the question is the visibility of this control. That about that, he says, Capra says that that is controlled by a web of relations. There is a net of relation connecting everything in this universe, reaching up to the top, controlling. It can be seen through or experienced, not even if not seen, experienced through a film. I'm just illustration, my example, not his example. His example is movement in the ocean. It is coming and you think that it's going to end. No, another will come. Still another, and thousands of and others will come. It's coming, ending, coming, ending. This is one expression of this rhythm. Perhaps from my illustration, there is another illustration from wind's movement, then the movement of elements of nature, including gases, and closer home to our body, the pulse, that rhythm we can see in that pulse. So some type of rhythm is in nature that has through that web of relation. That web of relation is connecting all the type varieties of autonomies, and that controls the whole of the constituents of the nature and this planet. Why I talked so much about all these things? Because I want to suggest that you don't think that one disease will happen or happens only at one place. This is outcome of something done somewhere else also. It can be. In case, it started in China. Maybe something odd might have happened. And these scientists, these quantum basically physics scientists say that calling is happening anywhere, that will be controlled by the whole, might be some central organization, or don't know, we know nothing about that. It is being looked after that. The strangest of all things has come in the meanwhile, and that is that they are saying that not only the living are responsive, the whole of non-living world is responsive. We have by J.C. Bose, we know about that, but it has been further illustrated, and the extent has reached to such a point that now they say that even water has memory. Water has a memory and remember. So all of us who are dirting the rivers and everything, maybe that water is remembering your face. And one day they will take charge of everything in lighter vein, please. But this is likely to happen because theoretically, if as water has memory, all the water is going in the ocean, and that way the ocean is the reservoir of knowledge. Let us hope for that time that we know about all these things. But briefly suggesting here that whatever we are doing, we are disturbing part of the globe. So unless and until we take measures for corrective measures for disease or whatever that is, all over the world, things can't improve much. Of course, we can't do it every day or in a few hours or few years. No, we can't do it. So in that case, our best safety shield against these type of diseases are all what we already know, cleanliness and. But that I will suggest three new things. I will emphasize upon them. That first, you concentrate on immunity because personally you can do it. It may not need the help of the whole society. Immunity, improve your immunity. Another thing, positivity of mind, that you don't think that if you are afflicted, you are alone and you will be killed. No, you won't be killed. I have just now narrated that some decent energy that may not be God, but that is taking care of your health. And they have assigned a lifespan for every constitution of this planet, and they will try to keep us alive until time. So they are the greatest doctor. And be hopeful, have faith in that. And finally, recently, if you read Reader Digest, you might read the article by author bestseller. He says, he talks about in this disease, crisis of disease, talks about cooperation. cooperate with other because it enlightens you. It gives you extra energy. It makes you, and that will help your immunity also, your positivity. So this much, this is too much, I think now, but this much for now. And now I have to talk a lot of other things also. If you ask questions, we can respond. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. We have been enlightened by your research and your opinions.
Sound is slightly feeble. Sound, I have put it on my maximum, but it is coming not very loud.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay,
Keep it closer, keep it closer.
yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your wonderful lecture. Insightful, knowledge evoking. You have been highly enlightened. Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Now I invite our principal, Dr. R.P. Dakal, to say a few words. He could not join us earlier because of the connectivity issue, and we got his apology here on the chat box as well. I think everyone has seen it. Sir, so over to you, principal sir.
Thank you, Virginia Kharga. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Dear Dr. Jagdish and Sinha, thank you for your brilliant speech, talk. I, on behalf of Kalimpong College, would like to express our gratitude for delivering this speech. And I also like to welcome all of you in this seminar. I'm sorry I was late. Nowadays, what is happening is, as soon as the load shedding takes place, all the internet broadband connection and even the SIM card connectivity goes off in Kalimpong. This is a great issue for all of us. Uh, Pandemic disease and outbreaks has actually, if you look, I'm not a historian anyway, so I seek apology for that beforehand. But I feel like these outbreaks were basic time. It has changed the code. It has created alliances, and peace. It has brought changes in our equilibrium. You can see as far as 5,000 BC in China, a great effort. A scholar has recently found out the archaeological site. It's called Hamin Manga in northeastern China. Similarly, we can go back to Athens, place of Athens, 430 BC, where Spain and Athens and Sparta were engaged in wars, and it has actually has affected the course of war, and it has affected. Sometimes I get the tendency of blaming ourselves, the modern system, but we can see that this kind of disease thousands and thousands. So what actually caused the mystery even now? There was a plague called Justinian plague in 541 and 540 AD, which is named in the Black Death, for example, Black Death epidemic, 36, 40, AD in Europe, which has actually changed the history. So many people died. It created the end of serfdom. And labor became so deep that industry was able to invent and improve on technology innovations. Now, 53, pandemic 1880, Spanish 2020, all have affected. Sometimes we have H1N1, swine flu, Ebola, dengue, malaria, and many. But finally, the corona, which is we are facing, actually bring about serious thinking in our minds. It has affected our economy. It has affected our psyche. It is affecting our politics, and it's affecting our diplomacy. Media is so good. Sometimes we do much information between what is information and what is misinformation. What is knowledge and what is misknowledge. So these are the points, and I hope this seminar will bring about certain insights into all these kind of modern problems. Corona is affecting our social behavior. And we have seen the kind of middle class we have become. The recent migration problem, when people were migrating, what we did, we were actually ringing our bells, we were clouding from helicopters, we were chanting, but we were there present in the streets to give them food and shelter to these walking migrants. We middle class have become deaf to these social sensitivities. And today, I think, is the time to rethink, look inward ourselves, and try to understand our own society, our own people, and social behavior. With these words, I'd like to thank all of you for coming to attend this webinar. I welcome you, and I wish technology or technology like this would just thank you all. Goodbye. Thank you, Rosa. It's over to you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you so much. Now I'll keep the floor open for open answers. So if anyone has questions to Dr. Sinha, you can unmute yourself and place your question here. Is it okay, Dr. Sinha?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir.
May I?
Yes,
Dr. Sinha,
Yes.
can we come to a kind of a conclusion and some kind of a positive response after hearing all this, that at the end of the day, what you are suggesting is, please read my lips, although I can't show my lips. Bioregionalism, bioregionalism, probably bioregionalism is the only germane thing to do. What do you say?
Sir, I'm not getting your point properly. Would you please repeat and just make it a simple
Okay.
query?
Okay. Bioregionalism, I think, means we all people stay where they belong originally,
Yeah.
culturally, politically, ethnically,
Yes.
and survive in the way they were doing long years back.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
Yes,
job creation, that people have gone looking for jobs. But
Yeah.
now, whereas they have jobs at home, they have to do, and you cannot any solutions brought by government will never be for the benefit of the people, because they are totally under the control of the corporates, big corporates.
Yes, sir. Yes, I agree. Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my conclusion is that we probably have to think about, all of us have to think about going back home and set and working, and not from we not expect
Yes.
tomatoes to come. We can go